Hey there, welcome back to Total Geek Live Baltimore Presents. I'm Baltimore, and today I am bringing you Days of Future Present. That's the 1990 crossover through the annuals of Fantastic Four, New Mutants, X Factor, and Uncanny X-Men. This was a really great, fun summer storyline that happened in 1990 that was kind of brought forth a lot of actually important things that you didn't really realize were important, but are like, oh, thinking back on it, you're like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, that's pretty darn important. We actually have the first appearance of Gambit because the annual of Uncanny X-Men was released before Uncanny. I think it's 267 that he was introduced in. So that's kind of significant. We also have the first encounter of Jean and Rachel. Rachel is the time-displaced daughter of Jean and Cyclops from the dystopian future, Days of Future Past. So that's kind of neat to actually see them interact for the first time, although it wasn't very pleasant. It didn't have a very good start for their reunion. But I actually really loved this storyline. It was really fun. Fantastic Four 23 annual, X Factor annual 5, New Mutants annual 6, and Uncanny X-Men annual 14. So those are the four annuals that this storyline encompasses. And it's really kind of cool because they band together to stop Ahab, who's this brand new villain that we're introduced to in this crossover. And he has a lot of ties to the X-Men that are revealed throughout this storyline. So it takes place, Days of Future Present is the storyline. We have an adult Franklin Richards come back to the present. This is the son of Sue and Reed Richards. And he returns, and he's very confused about what's going on. He doesn't quite know. Things that are here in the present are not what he experienced and remember, so he changes them. His mutant power is so expansive, and it allows him to rewrite reality as he sees fit. So the Fantastic Four and Little Franklin, because he's a child at this point, come back to the Four Freedoms Plaza only to find out that it's the Baxter Building again, which is not quite right because now they live in the Four Freedoms Plaza, and then they also encounter a younger version of them, which is manifested from Franklin's memory, adult Franklin's memory. So they have a fight between old Fantastic Four and the imagined Fantastic Four, and of course they do defeat them, and they discover that it's adult Franklin is behind it. So they're very confused because they have their child Franklin, and then they have this adult Franklin, and of course he flees because he's confused and scared and unsure about what's going on. And across the sea in Excalibur, Rachel feels his energy again. They were lovers in her time, and so that kind of feeling of him draws her back to New York. There's also Banshee and Forge, who are at this time trying to reunite the X-Men, and they hear about this encounter, and they want to find out what's going on, and they end up discovering Ahab, and they are going to encounter them, and they team up with the Fantastic Four to defeat the Sentinels that are there, and they find Franklin at the Powers home. And the Powers are the Power Pack family, which is one of Franklin's first teams that he was a part of. They're all younger, a sibling family, and he was a tag along to that group as a member. So he goes to them because that's familiar and another home for him. So they Fantastic Four and Banshee and Forge go to find him there. He escapes again because he's still confused. He goes back to New York, and he sees SHIP, which is the headquarters for X Factor, and because he doesn't recognize it, he doesn't know it, he makes it disappear. And of course, this gets X Factor into the mix. And so Banshee, Forge, the Fantastic Four, now, plus all of X Factor, are coming in to try to locate him and find out what's going on. But Rachel gets to him first. And she encounters Franklin, and it's this really, really bittersweet moment that, she was shifted back to this, to our present to save herself, And in her reality, Franklin died. Franklin was one of the last X-Men that died, and now she sees him alive, and it's a joyous moment, but she's very confused about how he made it and what's going on. And then we get Ahab attacking them. Ahab is pursuing Franklin, and Ahab was the one who's responsible for Rachel turning into a hound. So this is really, really traumatic, emotional story beat for Rachel, because she was forced to hunt down her own family and friends as a hound, controlled by him. So to see him there breaks her, and she flees because she's hurt, and she's mentally really kind of thrown by Ahab's presence back in the past, back in her present here. And so Franklin disappears again, and he goes to the Xavier School, which is one of his other places of memory of home. He encounters Cable and the New Mutants there. And he's confused about why they're there and what's going on, and he envisions another group of New Mutants that come and attack, and there's another little battle that takes place before they finally realize that was just an illusion, that wasn't real. So then we get a lot more interactions between the Fantastic Four. We have X-Factor going, now we have the mutants, and now we're going to go back into the Uncanny X-Men and kind of figure out what's going on. Ahab comes in. He wants to find Rachel. He wants to find Franklin. And he has access to hound technology to make people hounds. And the best way to track somebody is to use someone of their own lineage. So he gets Sue Storm, who's Franklin's mother, and Cyclops, who's Rachel's dad, and transforms them into hounds and forces them to go hunt and find the two missing mutants, Rachel and Franklin. And so they're on the run. Everyone is searching for them. Ahab even has this weird moment that he encounters Cable, and they're like face to face, and it's like, what's wrong? See someone you remember or something familiar? It was kind of the first tease that maybe there was obviously there was a lot more to Cable to meet the eye, but maybe there was a connection between him and Ahab. We didn't quite know. And one of the other interesting things to note is Cyclops had trouble finding Rachel. And they didn't really delve into the implications. Sue was able to find Franklin really immediately. And, some of the theories about that is that, well, maybe Cyclops isn't Rachel's father. And so that was kind of an interesting thought. There was some theories that suggested that Jean and the Phoenix Force were the true parents of Rachel. There's also the thought that Jean and Wolverine were actually the parents of Rachel. And so there's this kind of moment here in the storyline gave those theories a lot of credence. But then again, it could be just she's a telepath. She knows about hounds. Maybe she's able to mask her presence a lot better than Franklin could. That was pretty interesting to see. And then we get, Storm and Storm and Gambit coming into the X-Men. So you get the first appearance of Gambit coming back in to join up with the X-Men. And they encounter all the New Mutant, they encounter Fantastic Four and X-Factor. They're all together, and they're going to, trying to stop Ahab from all of this and rescue Franklin and Rachel. They go to a museum, Franklin and Rachel, and he envisions again the Sentinels attacking and killing him. And so then we realize that this is a dream state Franklin. The adult Franklin, at the moment of his death, sent his essence back through time to try and stop this. And he, along with young Franklin, decides the only way that they can solve this is to stop his powers. Maybe if he doesn't have his powers, then these things won't happen. So he puts himself into a coma, removes his little powers from the little Franklin, and then we're in a whole lot of more trouble because Ahab is still tracking them, and it's a whole big mess going on. And then we have the final moments where Franklin realizes what's going on, and he's able to make peace with it, and he disappears, and everything is restored. Everything is fine. Rachel uses her Phoenix abilities to unhound Sue and Scott from being hounds from Ahab. They defeat Ahab, send him back to the future where he can plot again. But there's a lot of little things that, we get Jean actually seeing Rachel for the first time, understanding who Rachel thinks she is, and realizing she can't handle that. And it's this bittersweet moment where Rachel is all she wants to do is reach out to her mother, the woman she knows as her mother, and Jean just has nothing to do with it. And she also sees how kind she is to baby Nathan, that is Scott's son with Madeline, and it's heartbreaking for her to see their interactions and then realize that Jean wants nothing to do with her. And this is something that's played a lot throughout the the years going on. This kind of animosity between them, and then it also lingers into when Jean is around more, Rachel disappears, which is kind of crummy because I really do love Rachel. But I thought this storyline was really, really great. It was a lot of fun. 4 annuals over the summer, and it's a really great storyline to kind of harken back to Days of Future Past, give some kind of context to what Franklin and Rachel were going through at this time that we never really got to see, and then dropping in a lot of little clues about Cable, Ahab, Cyclops, Franklin, Rachel, all these things. You get Gambit there. So there's a lot of fun little things that kind of happen in this, and I like this when you have annuals that actually matter, that actually kind of forward, a lot of continuity instead of just kind of one-off stories. This kind of built up on a lot of things and paid off a lot as well. So I really did love Days of Future Past, Days of Future Present. It was a lot of fun. There are a couple of collections of this around. They haven't kind of reissued it, which is kind of a shame because I really want to get a full collection trade paperback of this so I can have it for myself. But let me know what you think about Days of Future Present. Have you read it? If you're not, you can try to find it on some of the apps as well. And let me know what you think about it. Like, comment, and share. And as always, I'll be back with more Marvel goodness for you. It's all geek to us.